الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. قال الله تعالى في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم له معقبات من بين يديه ومن خلفه يحفظونه من أمر الله إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وإذا أراد الله بقوم سوءا فلا مرد له وما لهم من دونه من وال. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and most merciful, all praise is due to Allah Azza wa Jalla, Lord of the worlds, and we ask Him to send His greatest peace and blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and upon his family and his companions, and upon all the believers until the day of judgment. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, for each one there are successive angels before and behind, protecting them by Allah's command. Indeed, Allah will never change a people's state of favor until they change their own state of faith. And it is Allah's will to torment the people. And if it is Allah's will to torment the people, it can never be averted, nor can they find a protector other than Him. Allah Azza wa Jalla made it abundantly clear in the Quran that the key for any change starts with your own self. In order for change to be effective, it has to be organic. And in order for it to be organic, it has to be something you realize first before you realize it in other people. I attended a talk 2 weeks ago in the study circle. And I didn't think of how profound this talk would have been until I attended it. But it was a talk that we advertised for you. It's regarding vegetarianism and being a vegetarian. Now, for most people, when you hear that, when you hear the words vegetarian, you're probably thinking already, I've lost you. Because, mashallah, meat is halal, brother. Allah's given us bounties, we have to eat it. But the reason it was profound for me wasn't necessarily the message. The thing that really hit a nerve to me was my reaction to the message. Here was someone who was going to present to me his reasons for why he is vegetarian and why potentially, in a non-inviting way, or however you want to see, why you might want to be this, follow the same practice. But what I found in myself is I'd already come to a conclusion, and that conclusion was based on my preferences of eating meat. So regardless of what he said, I'd already come to a conclusion. And in that moment, what I realized, for probably the first time in my life, is that is the same reaction a non-Muslim gets when you speak to them about Islam. When you tell someone about something, that you should pray, you should fast, people when they hear that, are not listening to your message. What they're worrying about is the consequence of listening to your message. And what I found myself is almost wanting to cover my ears. Like, I prefer not to know how they're treating animals in the farms. I prefer not to know the impact on global warming. I might even, some go as far as trying to find facts to the opposite effect, to prove my point. And what I saw in myself, and I saw in many people around me, is you become entrenched in a camp. And you're actually so convinced of your opinion, the facts are no longer relevant. What you're actually looking for is facts to support your opinion. Now, for me, this was probably the most profound moment I've had in any talk, because it reveals to myself, and perhaps to yourself, a psychology of what's going on in your mind. Because we all hear about this need for change, and you've probably heard about it all the time. But it's not for a lack of me telling you that we need to become better Muslims in order for Islam to become better, in order for Muslims to rise. What we really need to address here is why that change is so difficult. What is it that you're actually running away from? In my case, this vegetarian idea, it was an honest opinion that I don't like vegetables and I love meat. And for many of you, that might also be the case. So regardless of any fact I heard, how harmful it might be, the fact no longer mattered, because I'd already formed my opinion. Sayyidah Aisha, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, said in a hadith, it's a lengthy hadith, but part of this she mentioned, if the first thing to be revealed, so at the beginning of the hadith is, someone came to her house to read from the Quran because they wanted to take the laws from the Quran. And she was intrigued about why there was this obsession of wanting to find out the laws to teach people. And she told him, if the first thing that was revealed to us was that alcohol is haram, don't drink alcohol. I mean, who probably for the first time in history were able to conform and change their ways of practicing on a systematic level. Till this day, people don't drink alcohol. And she's saying, if you had come to them and told them that you need to stop drinking alcohol, they would not do it. And she said, if you had come and said the first thing, and if it had been revealed, do not commit sexual intercourse, they would never have given this up. What she's touching upon here is something deeply profound, which is a recognition that people enjoy their life. It's fun drinking. And when we speak to people about not drinking, they're not thinking about, oh, it's harming my health, or it's doing, they're thinking, what am I going to do on a Friday night? And when I'm with my friends, and when I'm socializing. When you're telling somebody that, or you're young, you're youth, you need to stop playing PlayStation, you need to study more. He's thinking, I get so much fun out of this. This is an escape, this is a pleasure. And if you just start dealing with rules, rather than dealing with the fundamentals, you'll never get the outcome that you're wishing for. And this is what I saw with myself with this idea of vegetarianism. I, honestly speaking, found myself already reaching an answer without even needing to hear a discussion. So what do we need to do? We need to do two things. Number one is when we're talking about changing and coming closer to Allah, the most important thing you need to do is you need to instill that love of God in someone's heart. And that doesn't come from rules. That comes from practice. That comes from socials. That comes from experience. If the youth group that we run wasn't so fun, people wouldn't come because it's like an Islamic event. But when they come and they see that Islam can be fun, then they start praying. Then they start becoming better people. And the same is for adults. So we need to make the experience of Islam better. It has to be something they actually enjoy. And number two is the rules is a consequence of that. You don't do something because of your desire to conform to something you're already enjoying. And as a understanding that this is going to lead you to a better life that you're going to live in. And I've seen what can happen when you get a youngster from year 7 and what happens to them after 4 years of attending. And my mission is to try and make sure this project doesn't stop when one person leaves. This Wednesday we've got some flyers on the door. We have an annual general meeting. We have a meeting that we're calling all parents, all people who are keen to be involved, all supporters, to come on this Wednesday, inshallah. And what we're asking for is a very simple commitment. We're going to form a board, a board of governors, people who are going to be willing to just attend once every quarter to oversee this project, to fund it so that we can hire people so that they can continue this great work. But it's really important, inshallah, that you can show some commitment towards these things. Because this change I've seen, that I'm discussing here, I've seen it happen in so many of the youngsters. And alhamdulillah, one of the most beautiful things is when you see old generation of people coming back in and you see, mashallah, this is a youngster I saw who's still practicing their faith. Imagine the impact that you can have from that. But more importantly, we all have children, we all have cousins, we all have grandchildren, we all have people who we know need to be going through this. And this is the smallest commitment that we're asking for you. Part of it will be financial, part of it will be time. Or both. But inshallah, take a flyer, please come on Wednesday, inshallah. It's open for all parents, for all teenagers, but we're trying to form this structure, which we've been working on for about 2 months now. And inshallah, we're going to present it and hopefully get people to buy into it. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع مجيب الدعوات. Oh Allah, we ask you to make this change easy for us, Ya Rabb. We ask you, Allah, to make our desires in line with what you wish. Allah, we ask you to make our youth firm upon the faith of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Inna Allah ya'muru bil 'adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. القارعة. ما القارعة وما أدراك ما القارعة؟ يوم يكون الناس كالفراش المبثوث وتكون الجبال كالعهن المنفوش فأما من ثقلت موازينه فهو في عيشة راضية وأما من خفت موازينه فأمه هاوية وما أدراك ما هي نار حامية. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Inshallah, the flyers are by the door, so you can take one on your way out for some information, inshallah. Okay. There's a second Jama'ah coming in, so please pray your